Today, there's no checkpoint, but that doesn't mean we can't chill. This is ChillPoint. Hello, everybody.
Is that why you have sloth today?
That's why I have sloth today. I don't know if you can see it. This is we have a lot of awesome loose leaf tea here in the office, and we had a bunch of the tea bags, like the sort of loose leaf tea bags. But then we ran out, and so I got me a little tea sloth. It's called the Slow Brew.
Oh, good.
That's cute.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Unfortunately, the tea comes out its butt, and its butt is not sitting in as deep into the water as I was hoping.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
We think it's because the mug lip is curved on this mug, but
Yeah, I'm blaming the mug.
Yeah.
I don't want to blame the sloth.
It's possible that sloths are not the ideal shape for tea manufacturing.
I think what I need at home or work, maybe just here at work actually, is what I need first. Is I need like a jug because I make cold brew tea in the fridge all the time, right? So it's like I just need a jug that has a screen across the lip, so I can just go 1, 2, 3 with the leaves. Just kind of throw some into a bucket and then be like, great, pop the top on, and then we're good to go. I think I need to look at getting one of those.
I can get them.
I have a nice a jug that has like a diffuser in the middle of it.
The thing is that you have to clean the diffuser, right?
Yes.
And that's like, I don't want to clean
I
the
see.
diffuser.
You want the right.
I want to pour through the leaves, and then when I'm done, I just want to, reach my hand inside the thing and scrape out all the leaves and throw them away.
Anyway.
Okay.
Aside from talking about various tea steeping techniques,
You said we were here to chill.
this is also a show about video game news. It's true. Tea steeping is an important part
is
of the
very
chill process. Today we're talking about video game news. As I mentioned in the intro, there was no checkpoint today, or yesterday,
or this week.
Or even right now.
Graham and Kathleen are out of town, and which makes the whole process more difficult. If one of them are out of town, it works. But if both of them are out of town, it makes it tricky.
And I've been kind of run down all week anyway, so I liked having a bit of time off.
We basically chose not to.
Yeah.
Graham and Kathleen were out of town. Beej was lazy.
There were maybe things we could have done, but we chose not to. So deal with it.
Big thanks to our big thanks to our Patreon for supporting us, even though we're sometimes lazy.
Yeah.
Well,
You didn't do this.
taking a break is not lazy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the stuff that
Might have happened.
and we might have talked about on Checkpoint, but we didn't.
So now we're going to talk about it here.
All right, I will spit rhymes off the top of my head. Let's hear what happened.
Well, I mean, the first thing we could talk about is Level 5 did a big Level 5 Vision 2023 showcase.
Ooh.
And announced or showed off. I guess some of these games had already been announced.
Three of these games definitely got announced during that Nintendo Direct back in February.
I used to have Level 5 vision, but now I have to wear contact lenses.
Now
because you took an arrow to the knee?
Yeah, it was 2023 in both eyes.
I mean, we have a video about you being 2022 in both eyes, I think. Or what was it? Maybe that was 2020. It was 2020.
2020.
It was 2020.
Right.
Anyway.
Level 5 announced a bunch of new games, or a bunch of new games and returning franchises, including Deca Police.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Which is, 10 police?
Well, I mean, I suppose so. It's weird because it's a game about people who are being detectives, so they're not really, I guess, kind of a police
but
officer.
It's not Deca Ranger. It's just Deca Police.
Deca Ranger is so good.
Right.
But they're doing like police work inside a virtual reality space so that they can recreate crimes that happened a long time ago.
But don't worry, they're all children.
Also, his
Oh,
phone is
good.
also his badge. And at some point, like, a hacker does something so they turn into animals. He turns into a cat.
I mean, you might think by watching the trailer, you might think it's like, okay, well, no, they're supposed to be adults. I'm like, yes, but no, they're just pretend they're all children because that's way funnier. They're just
That is
all
much more in
kids
line with
pretending to be
anime.
adults. Yeah.
All
There's
right.
kind of like an RPG-ish element. So from what I watched because I watched the entire presentation, like, okay, I skipped through the robot thing because I didn't care about that. But they talked about the fact that like after you solve the case, sometimes the person that you find out who did it won't go quietly into the night, and so you have to fight them. So it turns into kind of an RPG turn-based battle-y looking thing. At that point, you're not allowed to use your gun without permission. The game doesn't. It feels like the game doesn't want you to use force, despite the fact they keep showing a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
How do you get permission to use your gun?
I think you call someone.
It's like Metroid Other M.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They want you to do things to convince the person to come in, mostly.
I didn't realize there's a whole furry element to this, and now I'm starting to wonder.
I told you, they
yeah.
get turned into animals in the VR space.
I mean, you told me that, and I'm
There
like,
was
well,
a
I didn't
hacker.
really
He
process
turns into a cat.
what you mean
There's
by
a
they
girl
turn
that
into
turns
animals.
into a bunny.
Like
Did she just attack the guy by throwing a pair of handcuffs at him?
Yes.
Yes.
Very Lupin the Third. I don't know. It just. Sure.
Look, it might be interesting.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Yeah.
Nobody
Maybe all
knows.
cops aren't bastards.
Well, I mean, we know that's not true. But
And then there's also Fantasy Life I. What does the I stand for? They forgot.
individual, internet, and I can't remember what the third one was that they said during the presentation.
Why is there only one eye if there's
you have to understand, during this presentation, they made the guy who was introducing it into a cartoon character, and every now and then he kept jumping up into an L, and this voice would come over that would say level 5. It was really odd, and I don't know why they were doing
All
that.
right. They're trying something. Got to make it feel like a direct, right?
Yeah, it's just the way they described what the I stands for in this makes it sound like they forgot what the I stands for, and now they're just making it up again.
Okay, fair.
Like they were really tired or really hungry the day that they had to name this, and they put an I in the name, and nobody remembers why they put an I in the name.
I will give them this. They put it up, and it had English subtitles on it.
Yeah.
The entire presentation. So,
like maybe it was supposed to be Fantasy Life 1.
Oh, that could be funny.
This
Yeah.
And they
is like
thought
the
it was a
third
Roman
iteration.
and they thought it was a Roman numeral.
This is the third one they've made?
yeah, they made Fantasy Life was for the 3DS, and
Yep.
then they did like a Fantasy Life iOS one, which I didn't care for.
Right. But this is actually a third one in the series.
I think so.
That's
I
cool.
believe
It's
they've
not
done-
like a
I believe
rehash
it's
of-
No, it's a new one.
Nice.
I mean, still like a lot of the same elements. It looks like they're taking some cues from Animal Crossing and like letting you terraform, which is new.
I mean, the art style definitely has a certain Animal Crossing feel to it.
They're so you get like, they call it a life, but you get like a career, and you can swap careers and you can do things, and it just lets you do different things like mining and crafting and being a paladin and whatever. But there's a portion in that thing where they're like, hey, you can choose your lives, and 2 of them have question marks on them. And I swear you could only have 12 last time, and I think there's 14 on there now.
Okay.
So that means there has to be 2 new ones, and I want to know what they are, but they haven't told me yet.
Fair.
The
I liked Fantasy Life on the 3DS. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
equating career and life to be synonymous is a little disturbing.
It's
Yeah,
not
because
really like
Like
okay.
understand that it's like, people will tell you that there's such a thing as a work-life balance, and I think that's bullshit. I think what there is a life balance.
not
But in
in
this
that
case,
game.
there's a fantasy life balance, is that you have life, the things that you have to do, and then you have your fantasies, which don't exist in actual life, unless you're successful enough to try to make that kind of kinky shit happen. Good for you. But yeah, life involves work.
And then there's the game that is the one that actually everyone cares about,
The important one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Layton.
which is the new Professor Layton.
We thought we were never going to get any more of this forever and ever.
Why did
Well,
we think
because they
that?
gave us Catriel and it was bad.
Yeah, we had 6 of these. Did we not have
There was 6 Professor
mainline
Layton, and then there was Catriel. Again, bad.
Yeah. And at some point, it was like, well, I think they just killed the Layton franchise at this point.
I don't even remember what happened at the end of the Cat Trail game. I just remember I was streaming it and I got angry. I got physically angry.
But you don't remember what made you angry.
No, which is probably for the best, to be honest.
I got to the end of it.
You just blacked out with rage.
I got to the end of the time traveling game, and I was like,
yelling, Paul.
fine. Like, I was like, great. Like, it's the end of the time traveling game, and that's fine, and we're done, I guess. And I was like, I guess I'll have to play the next one. But I was so burnt out on clicking on random shit on the screen and finding tiny puzzles and like all sorts of other stuff. I was just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this.
I mean, if you're not into clicking on things on the screen and doing tiny puzzles, then Professor Layton may not be for you.
Yeah.
I think I've kind of.
But good news. This one happens a year after On One Future, which would have been the one that you're talking about, I think.
Right.
Because that's the third game in the release side of things.
Right.
But the next 3 games were a prequel trilogy, so you could just skip the prequel part.
I guess I could
if you wanted to play this.
Sounds good to me.
My favorite thing, I've only played one Professor Layton game, which is the Mysterious Village. Mm-hmm. And my favorite thing about that game, I guess this is spoilers, but there's like all this mysterious stuff going on with it's like, oh, there's people there, and then they're gone, and then sometimes you see people will like be frozen in place, and it's like, what's going on? And then it turns out that everybody in the village is actually a incredibly lifelike automaton.
Yes, that they can have full-on conversations with you.
Mm-hmm.
And Professor Layton is like, turns out everyone in the village is a fully artificial intelligent lifelike automaton.
Mm-hmm.
I have solved the mystery.
Yes.
Oh,
Bye.
right.
It's
technically,
Better not tell anybody.
Technically, there is that crossover game with Professor Layton, Phoenix Wright, which, as far as I'm concerned, is great, and I would love more crossovers.
And it's like, wait, isn't that a far bigger mystery than the like random puzzles that you were solving? Is how did somebody build these?
Yeah.
No.
But Paul,
That's what I was blown away by, actually. It's
all
like,
the
wait,
matchsticks have to match or something.
I have 3 matchstick. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's the best Penny Arcade comic.
Right. They are AI. They are not salami. There's been a push recently to say, what if instead of calling everything AI, we call it by a different acronym, and somebody gave a longer form acronym, but that it nicks down to salami, which you would have people saying things like, okay, so is this salami going to take over the world? Can this salami write my essays for me? And I'm kind of like, yeah, this is good. I like this a lot better.
Yeah, okay. I can get behind that one.
All right.
But yeah, Professor Layton's probably okay. It's the big one for us.
Yeah.
Inazuma 11 is Inazuma 11 is going to be a big deal for other people.
Yes.
Not me.
Sucker.
During the presentation, they pointed out that there 4,500 other characters from previous games can be your friends in this one.
Are you ready for some football?
All I can assume that this is basically the Smash Brothers Ultimate version of this series. that is what I have decided.
4,500 characters.
Yes.
It's because it's a football game. So it's just they've already figured out who all of the teams are. Right? They have all that.
They
so
can
just
all be your friends
All the
now.
guys who are in Smash could easily be in there.
And then get lost in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Waluigi could be in there.
I mean, he might be, for all I know.
I mean, they might just put him in because they don't have anybody else. They need more.
I don't know if this is any better of a anime football franchise than Captain Tsubasa. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I think
I have no
Inazuma
idea.
11's been popular for many, many years. So
They've made a lot of them.
yeah.
So
Is
this
all I
is
really know.
the name of the franchise is Azuma 11.
Inazuma 11.
Inazuma 11. This is not Inazuma
Like the
version
11th
11.
No,
Because it's 11 people on the field.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, if you skip forward in the video, there should be like actual gameplay of kind of moving around
I
the
see.
field and some stuff. Again, I just know that this is a big deal for other people.
Just
not me.
everybody's so slow.
I know, right? It doesn't feel like FIFA. I think it's meant to make it feel like you've got a lot of land to traverse or something, or because it is maybe for a younger audience, it's maybe meant to feel like, okay, I'm having to work harder.
I mean, Shaolin Soccer, the video game, is,
See, 4,500 characters from the entire series.
Wow.
Yep. This van. We put them all in this van.
The Azuma 5
You gotta put
van.
that many people somewhere.
I mean, that does look like a pretty cool van.
Yep.
Anyway, so
I got a pretty cool van.
lots of new stuff at the for the level 5 showcase, and I believe they are all 2023, 2024 games.
Worldwide, which is important.
Right.
Level 5 used to have like an office or something in North America, and then they shut that down. So there was like a worry for a while that was, will we get any more level 5 games over here ever again if they're not?
They'll all be just like Japanese or European releases.
But I guess this really means like no, they're doing stuff again. Also, we have proof of life for Leighton.
The fact that we say things like that these days.
Well, it's been a really long time since he's had a game. The
fair.
last game that came out was the Catriel one, which was 3DS, and they ported it to Switch. They did not make any changes.
And he's
that
not
were
even
worth
in
doing.
it, yeah. So really,
Yeah.
his last game is the crossover game with Wright. Is
Uh,
the Ace Attorney crossover game, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think that came out after the. I can't remember
Yeah.
order. But yeah, it's actually been quite a while since we've had a proper Professor Layton game.
Do you like spooky games?
I'm gonna say
No.
yes
Do you-
for the bit.
Do you like scary games that are also was it werewolf style social deduction games?
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna say yes for
Those
the
are your
bit.
two favorite things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely for the bit.
There's a game coming out called
I'm helping.
Do You See Sparky?
Was he behind me?
Well, that's the fun part.
Okay.
This does actually legitimately sound cool for people who may be into this kind of thing. It's basically Among Us combined with like Phasmophobia.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Yeah, two games I absolutely love. Again, for
So
the bit.
it's by a company called Clapperheads out of Bulgaria. So the idea is that it's a first-person co-op game, and there is a monster. There is a doll, a creepy doll that is being possessed by a monster.
Right.
Okay.
But what monster is possessing that doll, you don't know. There's one of 16 possible monsters could be possessing this doll.
Okay.
And so you have to do various puzzles and deductions and find clues like you do in Phasmophobia in order to figure out what monster is possessing this doll.
So, like in Phasmophobia, I always just feel like the mistake there is that your chosen profession is to try to hunt ghosts, which doesn't look like it pays out very well.
No,
and
it
really
pays
is
out
very
extremely poorly.
yeah, and it's very dangerous. So that's on us. Why do we just not? Does it matter what monster this doll is? Why do we not just simply lock it in a box and throw it in the ocean with everything else?
Because it's a creepy ghost doll and probably comes and kills you, I guess.
Dang it.
Or rather, so the idea, so the social deduction aspect of this is, and why it's called the Do You See Sparky, is when all the people playing, one person is basically marked, starts the game being marked.
Okay.
Which means they're the
used to
one
be
that sparked. That's the one that's the creepy monster that Sparky is going after.
Oh, okay. Okay. And nobody knows who that is.
Yes.
Okay.
And that person can't see Sparky.
So we're trying to figure out who can't see Sparky.
But nobody knows if you're going to be able to see it or not. So if you're walking around trying to find Sparky, you can't see Sparky.
And you want to pretend to your fellow players that you can see Sparky.
Yes.
Because you don't want them to know that you're the marked one, because that means you're the one that needs to be sacrificed.
Right.
Oh, because that's how
cool.
you get rid of. Okay, I was like, why wouldn't you tell your friends so they could protect you? But I understand now they're not going to.
And there's apparently ways there's ways that the marked person can pass their mark on to somebody else to make them the marked person instead.
Is Sparky, who I'm guessing is the doll and therefore is at the center of this entire escapade, is Sparky extremely cute, but in a way that's kind of slightly malevolent that children will love?
Well, let's see. Let's check out the announcement trailer.
Nope. Not even a little.
All right.
Sparky's horrifying.
I'm guessing that's the doll. Must have been the doll. Let's see what happens. Oh, we got long arms and legs. We got
And
Hogwarts
ghost
running.
Oh,
children.
that's not a. Nope.
Okay.
Sparky is not cute.
No.
I don't know. I think
Even if that doll wasn't possessed by an evil monster, I still would not want to have that doll.
Yeah, but that also means I'm sure you can look forward to in probably the next 6 months after this game doesn't really go anywhere for it to be all over Walmart, a la Bendy and the Ink Machine. There's going to be
right.
so much marketing of this to kids.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's the thing though. When you said it's like, oh, it's a haunted doll, and I'm like, if it's cute, and this is a social deduction game, which means lots of like young people are going to be playing it. I'm not a young
Wait.
person.
This is actually kind of awesome. So this is presumably, we don't have the audio right now, but presumably this is the person who Sparky is going after. Spark.
Well, you can't see. Oh, okay. You can't see Sparky, but you kind of can.
You can see the grass move.
And you can't do anything too Sparky, I guess. All
Well,
right.
I think you have to figure out what monster is possessing Sparky in order to know what you have to do in order to...
Get rid of it without
Wild.
sacrificing children.
So very complicated, not just straight up, oh, who's the imposter kind of idea. There's a lot more of ways you can save yourself.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well,
who
game I
knows?
never playing.
Maybe that'll show up on Let's Nope or something.
Yeah.
Or
Crossing the notes.
across
yeah, it
in
seems more like
across in the
crossing the
streams.
streams.
Yeah,
that
noping the streams.
across in the streams that Surge gets roped into somehow.
He needs to stop being so helpful and understand he can say no.
Oh, he does say no multiple times, but he's already playing the game when that happens. It's too late at that point.
His safety hoodie can only save him so hard.
Speaking of scary games, Resident Evil 4, which is became slightly more scary than it was supposed to be.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
Right, I've heard about this. Yeah,
Isn't Resident Evil 4 supposed...
for the GameCube.
What do you mean it ended up more scary than it was supposed to be? Isn't that the point?
Well, let me...
There was an explanation.
Clearly,
for this.
I don't know
Yeah.
how
remember reading
horror
about
games
this,
work.
yeah.
I assume they are meant to be scary.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be scary, and one of the very scary atmospheric things in Resident Evil 4 is I don't know whether, I guess this is either a new effect or just a new thing that they put in, is that it's all raining. Which, is always a
Miserable, yeah.
good for a scary thing.
Yeah.
The problem they ran into is that there's too much rain. Everyone was like, it's actually kind of hard to see what is going on because you made the rain too, like the rain is too prominent.
Right.
Uh,
So it kind of.
it looks more like static on the screen than like.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
It's hard to balance that, right? Because you're like, if you've ever been out in the rain, like especially on the coast, right? We get a
Yeah.
lot of rain. If you've ever been out in the rain when it's really coming down, you're kind of like, yeah, there's a lot falling, but also
And it makes
when
it hard to see, but then there's
Yeah.
also like a gameplay element where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, this isn't actually cool.
It's
there-
kind of funny because
But there's a sense in like real life that it's like when you go outside in the heavy rain, it's like I can still see stuff quite like my brain is able to filter
Wait.
out a little of that rain.
Sorry, I didn't actually switch. I forgot that I didn't actually switch to the gameplay here.
See, it's funny because the only other game I've heard of anyone complain about the rain in is Breath of the Wild, but
Oh, yeah.
not because you can't see, just because it really makes it hard to climb anything.
Right, yeah. I don't know.
This is the much more action-oriented Resident Evil.
Yeah. This is Resident Evil 4 is actually considered to be it was sort of the new era of Resident Evil that kind of revitalized the franchise.
Yeah.
But anyway, people didn't like it, and so they're
I mean, the flashing
They're-
of lightning isn't helpful.
they're pushing out an update
Right.
to make it
A little less rainy.
well, or at least make the rain effect a little bit less prominent. I think is more what it is, rather than because right now it does look a lot like white streaks. Also, have this egg in your hour of need.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a thing you're supposed to do in Resident Evil games. You're supposed to pick up eggs. I don't know, huck them at people, eat them.
Hi
Eggs
there.
eggs are versatile. So
Anyway. Just got a shipment.
BJ has to
Are you
get
for
mail.
chicken eggs that turn into snakes? Okay.
Chicken eggs that turn into snakes. I think those might just be snake eggs at that point. Unless the snake and the chicken had a thing. I just think that might just be snake eggs.
Anyway, we've seen everyone's reaction to the rain effects, and we are working on a day one patch to make adjustments. So, our long national nightmare of there being more rain in Resident Evil 4 than people were hoping for is going to be resolved. So, thank goodness.
Well, I mean, thank goodness for the people who care, I guess. Although I would play a Resident Evil game before I would play that Sparky game,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Well, I mean, especially like Resident Evil 4 is not actually that scary. It's more
Well,
like
yeah, of course not. 'cause
startling.
You have ammo and things.
Yeah.
It becomes more of an action game at that point.
Uh,
I'd still rather do that than Sparky.
The Epic Game Store is opening up even more. Obviously the Epic Game Store has not been very has had various controversies in terms of them taking games to make them exclusive and all that kind of stuff.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
We've had some stuff in the past about how much money do they really make off of giving away
And-
games for free.
And the selection in the Epic Game Store could be charitably described as curated.
So uncharitably as thin.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, it's
All
it's
What do you prefer?
yeah. Well, you're going to be able to find out because the Epic Game Store is going to start allowing self-publish games. So rather than presumably the games that are in there currently, which are all
Backed by
what-
major publishers and
That's what-
chosen by
that's-
Epic Game Store.
That's what Steam does, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You got
So this is
$100
basically they're opening it up to it takes $100, and then they're saying anybody can put their stuff on the Epic Game Store. They will be taking a smaller cut of revenue. They're at 12% rather than 30%.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Which
mean,
is
that's always been kind of their thing of like, look at how good we are.
Yeah.
Which again, the cut thing is not a bad thing,
Right.
but it doesn't make Epic good.
One of the interesting things is in kind of at odds with their history of doing exclusive or getting exclusive stuff is part of the agreement in order to self-publish on the Epic Store.
You have to still be exclusive if you're going to self-publish.
No,
Okay.
opposite, in fact.
You have to
if
make
it-
sure your thing's on everybody else's platforms.
If it is available on other platforms, it has to be cross-play compatible.
Oh, that's interesting.
So if it's available, So a multiplayer game has to allow players to connect to others regardless of where the game was purchased. Obviously, a PC game.
Okay, so they're not mandating. It's like if you put your game on Epic Games Store, and it's also available on Xbox, then you have to let the two play against each other. They're not mandating that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think they can do that. But if it's on Epic Games Store and Steam, they have to be able to play against each other.
I mean, they could technically do that. They could say your game has to be cross-play compatible between us and any other console that it might be on. We don't give a shit if PlayStation, Xbox can see each other.
I mean,
PlayStation and us and Xbox and us have to be able to see each other.
They're going to care mostly about Steam in that regard, because if people already own a copy of something on Steam, then and your friends are like, oh no, we can't play with you, so you got to get your copy on Steam.
And there's a lot of consternation, like the sort of situation around that is still very like, both whether if you're on the Epic Store, can you play with your friends on Steam? If you've got something on like Xbox Game Pass, can you play with your friends on Steam? If you've got on GOG, can you play with other systems? So that is very much not a standard thing now. Like often when we're doing like games on CTS or something, we have to be like, okay, how does this work? How does the multiplayer on this game work? Do we all have to have Steam accounts? Do we all have to have do we have to sign up for whatever the hell this developer is?
Do we have to sign up for a third-party
You have to get Devolver digital accounts or whatever?
Ubisoft's pretty bad for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
how do I send an invite to my friends on the system that we're using?
Yeah, that's always a problem.
so straight up though. This is that is a positive move.
Yeah, it's a positive move. I mean, it's definitely a positive move.
Yeah.
One could, the business case for it obviously is Epic being like, we want to make sure that the game that
there are no barriers.
Yeah, we want to make sure that games that people buy on the Epic Store aren't going to be hampered by not being able to play with Steam people. So they have a vested interest. It's not altruistic on their part. They have a vested interest in making the games available everywhere. Making especially since they are sort of the underdog, so to speak, in the market, which is weird to say about an enormous company.
Yes.
But
Well,
it is interesting.
in this particular market, they are the lower. Yeah.
It is interesting that they're taking this stance of we want to. So the other side of, if you got $100, you can put your game on our platform, kind of idea. That's interesting to me. That's like so many. By allowing that to happen, you're gonna get trash.
yeah. I mean, you're also going to get some good stuff as well.
And that's the point, right? That it's like when you allow people to very cheaply get onto a distribution into your store in that way, you might just get some terrible, shitty games. And there is always been that complaint about Steam, that it's been it's so hard to find anything good on here. And I mean, when I go to the Nintendo eShop and I crawl through to see what's on sale right now.
It's been around for so long now that it's been filled with other stuff.
You start to notice stuff that's on 95% off for 99 cents that says it's $10, but it's always on sale for 99 cents because they're just trying to encourage downloads and shit.
All I see this really doing in terms of Epic is especially if this is you can do this just as easily on Steam, I'm assuming, that it just means anybody who sells stuff on Steam will just move their stuff also over to Epic. This isn't going to inspire new games to happen. It's just going to be more of the same in other places. I
mean, for the most part, a lot of people if they don't even have that much money, they put their game on itch, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things it's only quite recently that Epic has had game reviews, has had the ability to review games and ratings for games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So obviously, as you open up the store to more stuff, that becomes more important.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when they first launched their store, they had other problems too, right? Like the whole, you can only buy one thing at a time because there's no shopping cart.
It took them a while to get a shopping cart.
It took them quite a bit of time to get features that you expect out of a storefront to have.
Which is weird too, because also when I think about it, it's when I buy a game, because of I'm used to buying stuff on Nintendo, right? It's like a game has come out that I want. Not 3 games have come out at the exact same time that I want. So me going to go buy a game from an online shopping store is like I've added a thing to my cart, I buy it, and I'm done. Now,
So the problem arises when there's sales usually,
Yes.
because then it's like you want to grab a bunch of things at once.
Yeah.
Not when a brand new game comes out.
and then you want that. I mean, what's funny about that is that the anti-pattern to that, in a way, is that if you start adding a bunch of stuff to your cart, then you're like, okay, I've added 30 games to my cart because now I've got the fever, right? I got the fever and I'm adding all this shit to my cart. And you go to go buy and you're like, $250. Oh, well, might as well get rid of some of these things off of whatever. But if you don't have that kind of thing, if you're just like, buy this, okay, done. Buy this, okay, done. And then you get your thing in a month and you're like, I spent $250? Fuck, okay.
But it's it's not one press buying, right? It's
No.
buy this,
This,
go
good
thing,
thing.
check out,
Yeah.
credit card. do the
Agree
thing,
that
do
I'm
the
buying
thing.
this for myself,
Yeah.
not a gift for
Yeah.
another person. Like,
And
yeah.
that slows you down, but it also means that you maybe aren't paying as much attention to how much you're spending on games, and that's kind of the anti-pattern there.
I guess I feel like you don't get as far because you just get worn out.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Um,
You spend less ultimately than at that point, because most people be like, "Oh, yeah, but I want to buy these 15 games because they're so cheap, so I will pay $250."
Yes.
Yeah,
and then you are sad because those go into your backlog and you never played them.
exactly.
No, that's just the gamer way.
The other two requirements are that if you have achievements on other PC stores, you have to also have them on the Epic Game Store.
Like a matching.
Yeah, you have to have the
Chivo for
matching
Chivo.
achievements.
Yeah, so they want it to basically be on
Which,
par.
as somebody who's played a lot of games on the Epic Store, I did not actually realize they had achievements because I do not care about achievements.
There we go.
They don't.
And-
They may that might be new.
Yeah.
I also-
you might not have them set to pop up.
Well, there's something weird and glitched on my like. I play a lot of games on Game Pass as well, and Game Pass has achievements, but for whatever reason, achievements don't show up. I get the sound goes like blink, but nothing appears on screen when I get an achievement. So I'm just like, okay, I did something, I guess.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I'm totally fine with because
Yeah.
achievements are
I
dumb.
mean, I imagine like I don't know what the difference is between posting something on Epic versus Steam in terms of your coding.
yeah,
But
presumably.
I would assume it would just be like a find and replace of my code to be like my achievements work over here now instead of over here.
Yeah, it might not be that simple. Like, they each probably have their own sort of onboarding system that is a pain in the butt. I bet I'm sure there already exists, and I bet there already exists, various companies that make it that have a sort of cottage industry of, you give us your game and we'll
Craft.
make all the things, all the like. XML files or all the stuff that has to be submitted with your game
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah.
order, the screenshots and the videos and, all the different things they have to submit with your game in order for it to be accepted into Steam.
Literally, I think there's
Or,
publishing.
Steam, GOG, and then they just publish it to everything and,
Yeah.
for however much dollars.
Yeah, I think publishers literally act as that side of things anyway, right? Because they're
Yeah,
largely
yeah.
trying to market your game.
But like if you're self-publishing, there's probably services that'll kind of do that for, at least set your stuff up for you.
My favorite achievement is in Subnautica Below Zero, where I managed to save the game without the thing fucking crashing.
Do you get an achievement for that?
Every time when the little saving game thing goes away, I count that as an achievement.
It's just a special
Wow.
achievement only for
It's a
Beach.
special achievement for me when it doesn't crash all the fucking time.
You're playing it on Switch?
I am playing it on Switch, and it is miserable. The amount it will crash
Fortunate.
once a session. I play it for a few hours at a time, but it will crash on average once per session.
That's not great.
No, it's bad, and I wish they would
That's-
fix it. I'm
And
very mad about
cue
it.
a bunch of people telling you to play it on a different platform.
I'm not going to play on different platforms.
I know.
I'm having a lot of fun.
I mean,
I'm letting them know that right now.
The frustrating thing though is that it's like that's like, a good portion of the reason why playing a game on console is often better.
Yeah.
Because the stability, they don't have to deal with all sorts of weird ass
Modifications,
configurations to
yeah.
your thing, so they can keep it way more stable. So I do get like
Yeah.
I'm just saying like I get quite offended at console games when they crash. I'm like, what are you, a PC?
And I know that my like.
Whereas PCs being like a PC
Yeah.
game being weird is just like, okay, sure, whatever.
I know that it's like part of that. I'm just gonna go off on the fucking tangent right here. The thing that also bugs me is, of course, there's no autosave, and that that is something that got, because they want it to feel like the game is meant to feel like it's a struggle the entire way, right? That you're supposed to be having a hard time. It's survival.
Used to a lot of games having autosave as a thing you can enable or not.
And
now.
that is the thing that surprised me, is I'm like, this doesn't have an autosave built in that maybe every 5 minutes or so it says, I'm just going to put a little flag here to say, like, this is where we can bring you back to in case you forget to save, that kind of idea. Because I'm usually really good about saving at places all the time. But you might work for about an hour and a half doing stuff, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, the game has crashed due to an error. And it's like, at least if I had an autosave from 5 minutes ago, I wouldn't feel so bad about going back and finding out I lost an hour of work rebuilding my base, right? Like, it's little things like that where I'm like, actually, yeah, auto-saving documents, auto-saving the game, having that little checkpointing kind of thing, actually I really like. I didn't think I would, but I kind of like it.
I'm pretty sure the PC version has autosave.
That's fantastic.
And I say that because I remember being screwed at least once.
Yeah.
With driving my little C truck around.
Yeah.
That was like fully upgraded and had tons of cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then realizing that I was in the dead zone, like realizing that I was going too far out, and not realizing until too late, getting killed, and then going through an elaborate process to try to like, okay, if I go out, do this, get into the C truck motor, I can get I can get in and get out before the whole thing explodes again.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent like an hour trying to get my stupid C truck back because I was like, I don't want to go through all the effort to build this thing.
No, agreed.
Anyway,
where am I getting all that kyanite? Anyway.
And then the final requirement, if you want to be in the store, is it has to have a rating in regions which require ratings.
Okay.
So like as in like a age rating,
right?
Which apparently are Australia, Brazil, Russia, and South Korea.
Require ratings.
I was going to say I
ratings are optional everywhere else, but also they are provided at no cost to you by Epic.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's pretty cool.
So I was going to say, I don't remember the last time I looked at a Steam game and it told me the rating on it.
So you know what the game Madden NFL, the very famous
American
football franchise.
Yes.
You know what that game has lacked until now?
Goalies.
Both of those things. Up until now, John Madden has not actually been in the game.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, wait, is he a football player?
At the very beginning of he was a coach. At the very beginning of, I think he played football briefly, but at the very beginning of John Madden Football for the Genesis, he kind of, boom, burst out of a thing and he goes, John Madden Football, IU. That whole horse shit is because of, they say John Madden Football in the Genesis, yeah.
So
John Madden.
He's been in the game as an announcer.
Yes.
Which he was for a very long time. And as a coach, that is what he got famous for. But he played for like a year or something until he hurt him. He was hurt, and then apparently he started watching game tapes during recovery and like developed these special developed
like kind of a play-by-play eye.
Developed his coaching techniques while he was in recovery.
That's good. Good.
But so up until now, John Madden, the football player, has never actually been playable in Madden NFL, the football game.
So he was the 244th selection overall in 1958, and he never played a regular season game. So yeah.
He was
Video games weren't around
one
yet.
season before a knee injury. Yeah.
So he was never going to actually. There's no reason for him to appear in his own game as a player, and yet.
But now,
Well, I mean, he's dead now, so nobody can stop
I
him.
wonder. I mean, I wonder if it was that he like didn't want to because he'd rather be in there as a coach, which is what he was good at. Anyway, whatever the case, he is now in the game. He can either be a 91 rated defensive tackle or a 99 rated offensive tackle.
Holy shit!
And he can also be upgraded to a 99 overall by completing a set of challenges. I don't know what that
Okay.
is out of. I'm assuming maybe if it's out of 100, that seems like he's really good.
But he wasn't.
I mean, he was injured.
Yes, but he was also a 21st round draft pick. Like he was that good at in his rookie
He was
year.
all conference selection at offensive tackle for the Cal Poly Mustangs. I'll have you know.
Look,
Sure.
Look, once you're dead, you become awesome at everything.
I
You're
guess
a ghost,
that's fair.
No one can stop you.
Scary as shit. Are they going to put other dead like sports people in this game as well?
Probably. Maybe it's just a whole ghost league.
They should do that. They should put John Heisman in the game. They should put like a whole
Hmm.
bunch of people who are like just old dead. Not even football at this point. I put put Maurice Richard in there. Put fucking Harry Houdini in there. I don't give a shit about Madden NFL. Like I don't like put everybody in there at this point. Make it Smash Ultimates.
Why aren't more
Have they done?
why aren't more football games catering to those of us who don't like football?
Have they done a Mario football? I know they've done like the soccer
No.
style stuff, but have they done like an actual Mario football?
Basketball, volleyball. I think there's even a hockey thing. Strikers obviously is.
Yeah, they have
is
like
football.
the kind of some
I guess-
Olympic stuff.
But
There's-
they've never done American football.
Yeah. And there's I was
It's really
thinking about
weird
like
watching Yoshi
if
ride a
there's
horse.
if there's sort of the NBA jam of football, like the sort of more
There is.
arcadey style. There's
Yeah.
like a backyard football.
NFL Blitz. That's
NFL
what you're-
Blitz,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what you're thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is super good.
One
Like,
of the
Blitz is
Olympics
fun.
games has like horse riding in it, which means Yoshi can ride a horse.
Yeah. Which is-
Again, weird.
oh, but allowed. I mean, hey,
Wait, does somebody ride Yoshi while he's riding a horse?
have
Can
you ever
stack?
seen?
No.
Have you
I don't
ever
think
seen
so.
Sonic in the swimming events?
No.
He wears water wings
He wears water
because he
wings?
can't swim,
Oh right.
but he's in the swimming events.
right.
Is it
That's
Why,
fucked up.
Why would they put him in the swimming
I
events?
know.
He's terrified
It's-
of water.
it's
It's
terrible idea.
canonical.
is it not allowed to just skip along the top of the water in swimming?
No, even in the cartoons when he goes to do the thing where he's like, okay, I've got to run across that water. He's not happy that he has to do that. He's terrified of water.
Wow.
So
That's mean.
I mean,
Olympics is supposed to be
I
like
was-
a you agreed to be here kind of thing.
you've
not
trained
like-
for many years to do this, and
Yeah.
it's like he hasn't
although
trained to swim.
although to be fair, the Olympics is also not usually like these 5 people have to do every event.
That's true. Yeah, we call that decathlon normally.
That's fair, but I would hope that you would be that they would be sensitive to his fears and not make him do the water events.
To be fair, I was also afraid of water levels when I was playing Sonic.
Yes, because creepy music happens.
Yeah, and you drown.
And the drowning is very creepy.
Anyway.
I just learned a thing I'm very upset about now. Thanks, Beach.
So,
Madden NFL.
Niantic has been busy.
Yep.
Well, they've been busy canceling games, but also
It takes time.
they've been continuing to work on other games. So, you know, obviously you got your Pokemon Go,
Sure do.
you got your Pikmin Bloom,
Sure does.
you got your NBA All World, which I have not heard of, and I choose to not investigate it.
We covered that once,
Do we?
ages
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
When we were talking about all the games that they were supposedly making.
You can walk around into a lamppost and catch Anthony Hardaway.
Yeah, I was gonna say I choose to believe that NBA All World is just like there's just like random basketball
like-
players just like hanging out and you have to catch them.
Yeah, exactly. You
And
have
force them to fight each
conquer
other.
a gym with Spud Webb. I don't know, right? Like,
I mean, at least
I
they're
haven't
easy
watched
to
basketball in
find.
a while.
They're tall.
yeah.
Um,
Dirk Nowitzki.
In fact, I
does
think
that?
we've even talked about the game that you're about to tell us
yeah,
about.
but we have talked about this. This is a game that they announced a little while ago, which is them their own IP, which I feel like is something that they've been kind of jonesing for.
Like
Isn't Ingress there?
yes.
Yes.
Ingress is theirs, right? It's not made for someone else.
But then Ingress was, was before Pokemon Go.
That wasn't cute.
And then Pokemon Go exploded with success. And
Right.
then
they need something a little bit more casual.
They did the the Harry Potter game, which did not explode with success. But
believe that got
they've done
canceled.
They've done a lot of licensed things, but they haven't done. They haven't gotten another thing where they actually own the whole thing. So
Yeah.
their new game is called Peridot, and it's basically their Pokemon. I mean,
These are kissable creatures.
so they figured out
Everything's kissable if you try hard enough.
they figured out the trick, which is you have adorable creatures, and
Oh, the pinks and purples.
so although this is not a there isn't a Pokemon Go sort of like battle thing.
Okay.
This seems like it might be more along the lines of Pikmin Bloom rather than Pokemon Go in the sense that it's more
Acquisition?
Well,
it's also
you have to keep your dots happy, healthy, and loved
right.
by feeding them,
so-
playing with them, and taking them on adventures.
Much more
That's
Tamagotchi.
the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Pokemon Go, but hornier. No, not that.
I mean, when Pokemon Go started,
mean-
it didn't have like a big battle element to it. Like it had battling, but not like PvP. Really.
But everybody knew that we were building to
yeah,
that
we were
because
gonna
that's
we
what
were gonna
Pokemon
build
is.
to that. But it was
Yeah.
still much more about walking around and catching things than it
Yes.
was about necessarily fighting things
Although this seems like less.
at the time.
This does seem like less volume catching, like number of Peridots that you catch, because it seems like you focus on.
Are you saying that I don't need to catch like 300 Pikachus and then grind them up into candy to make one Pikachu stronger than everyone else?
I mean,
I can't say that that's not what's going to happen in this game, but that's the impression I get.
like the Tamagotchi element, like talking about that, where it's like I have a thing. I think that's kind of where they're leaning into here. This idea of like I have a pet, or maybe I have a small stable of pets, and I change their colors and I brush their hair and I
Yeah.
So it's Neopets. at
A
that
charming,
Well,
goofy,
yeah.
charming, comfy game that delivers all the joy of raising a pet without the mess.
so no
point.
poop.
Virtual pets. Okay.
Yeah,
Also, wait,
I'm gonna lean into this here, and not to be shitty, but they're marketing this to women.
There, although according to
That's
this,
a dude.
I know, but they are marketing this to women.
according to this trailer, they're also marketing it as possibly like a dating app.
Ah,
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little.
that's cute.
Your dot made a
don't-
new friend.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I like that they look up at you.
I like people to ignore me when I'm walking around.
Maybe I wonder if they do that thing where they like.
That
You know-
marketing didn't say strictly women to me.
The pinks and purples.
That does not say strictly women to me either.
Okay, but traditionally, like traditional marketing is that when you're kind of pushing things in that way, very soft rounded stuff on the font, the predominance of pinks and purples. Like you walk down any toy aisle and that's
Well,
what
yeah,
you're
I
going to
know
see,
what
right?
toys look like.
And
but
I think there's still a very strong traditionalist element when it comes to building marketing in that way, right? This isn't being sold as, it's not like. Trying to think of some other example. I'm not trying to say that it should be black with like stamped into diamond plate and that kind of thing. Be like, then it's for men. It's like Peridot for men. They're not doing that kind of thing.
I don't read that as
I'm
is
reading
what
it
you're
more as
saying.
like they're trying to give it this very soft edge, but also I'm like, you could do that with greens and yellows and all that kind of stuff and make it feel a little more neutral. But the pinks and purples thing is like, that's going to have that the thinking from the marketing execs is that's going to appeal to more women, and women are the ones who are playing Pokemon Go probably more at this point. I could see that kind of rationale creeping in.
sure.
So, yeah,
I don't get that at all.
that's fair.
I will say that the initial when I read this pitch, it's like Every player's pet will be 100% genetically unique, inheriting genes from parent dots that define their color characteristics and other cosmetic traits. And then you can breed your dots with dots from other players to make, new dots that have genetic traits from the both. As far as I can tell in this article and in the stuff I've read about them, not NFTs.
Right.
Not NFTs, despite the 100% unique, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've
So yay
had
for
video
that.
games in the past that have said stuff like that, but when you get down to it, it's just it's not doing
Because,
that in the same
as
way.
we've talked about many occasions before, this doesn't require NFTs, and in fact, NFTs makes it worse.
I think
So you can make 100% genetically unique things and just store them in your own database like everybody used to do. And that's a great way of operating.
I was watching a thing a while ago that said that if you took grade 10 biology or grade 11 biology as kind of the way that we would think. I never took biology in high school because I was told it's basically all memorization. I'm like, I cannot be bothered. I'd rather take chemistry.
I
and
took all the
physics.
sciences and they were all bad.
Sure.
I did not have a choice.
But the way I've had grade 11 biology explained to me from people who were taking it is that it's like when you take genetics in biology at that point, you're getting we're going to give you a grid and talk about alleles and like kind of give you the breakdown of how the genetics work in that respect. And what that meant is that the bulk of people who ended up taking high school biology, that's their introduction and conclusion to how genetics works.
Sure.
They don't have a much larger idea of how genetics works. And so when you start talking about how the dots will have a thing where they'll have an inheritable genetics, where it's like you can breed two together and then they can outpops another one, and the offspring of that one will have mixes of genes or traits that come from the parents, essentially, right? That kind of thing. And you can
This
it would
was
do
mostly
dots.
something I learned in health class.
Right. So, but I'm like the Punnett squares. That's what they're called. Thank you. I'm wondering if their take on biology will be that kind of very facile kind of take on like, well, this is how you get a little of this, you get a little of that, we mix it together, and then boom, you're done. Or if it will be more of a larger thing of like, well, the randomness of what gene gets expressed is based on a lot of a much more complicated kind of algorithm.
I'm guessing it's not. If it is a complicated algorithm, which I'm sure it will be, there's no reason to think that it will be in any way based on how real genetics works.
Yeah.
And it probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, it could be based on something completely random.
But yeah.
I just don't want it to be like breeding gold chocobos kind of idea of like, if you follow this exact thing, you'll always end up with a gold chocobo. It's like, I want it to feel
not
more
that. I feel like it's got
organic.
I think it's got a little bit more of an RNG element.
Yeah.
If they're trying to argue that your stuff will be,
and they are all
different.
100% unique. So there's always some RNG stuff.
Yeah.
I like. I mean, you're talking about. I like science especially in elementary school and high school. I think one of my teachers talked about this at one point. It's science is basically as you take science through school, it's a series of lying to you in different ways.
Yes. And the lies get kind of rounded off and rounded
and this
off.
Is not and that's not a bad thing.
No.
Because it's like, you first take like whatever physics or chemistry, or you first take chemistry and they give you like the model, the model of the atom.
Yeah.
And then the next year they go, okay, that model was actually incorrect.
Let's talk about protons and electrons.
This is the real model. And then they go, no, that wasn't correct. This is the real model. Like they get more and more developed as you go on. Mm-hmm. And that's not wrong. That's not bad. It's just a weird aspect of it.
Yeah. It's building
lies to children, right?
Yeah. It's building a model that is simplified enough that a person at that point in development can actually understand it and understand the ideas that go along with it. And that's the trouble with education in a lot of respects, is that if you stop doing that level of education, at some point you lock in what you think your understanding is, and then you find out that you're like, oh, actually people who have studied this for 10 more years than you have a much more focused understanding of what the thing
Yes.
is, and their models are different. And you don't want to break
think-
your model because you're like, but that's what they told me in school. It's like, yes, but
I
you
think,
didn't
I think
take
the
the
problem
rest
is
of the
that they
things.
don't reveal to you that it is a lie, but it's kind of not. And so when somebody has more education than you in a topic,
Yeah.
you should probably believe them.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But
adults
people
lie to their
don't.
kids all the time.
It'd be great if you could just say, look, this is a helpful lie. What we're teaching you, this model is a helpful lie. And it will change in the future, but this is the one you need to understand right now.
Speaking
Of helpful lies?
No.
speaking of physical models,
Great, that's even better.
Tunic, great game, which has been played on stream, and Nelson
And
played it.
2/3 of the people in this room have played it.
Yeah.
And soon, one
Thanks.
day, Beach will be able to play it too.
I'm looking so forward to it.
Tunic is getting a physical special deluxe edition release, which is sounds like it's going to be actually super neat. Made by Fangamer, by the way.
Fangamer is great for releases because you can actually get them.
I was surprised by this, though, because
I was happy.
I know that you were not surprised.
No, because I pay attention to it too much.
Well, yes, but also in as much as you are aware that Fangamer does game releases.
Yes.
I have always associated Fangamer with merchandise releases.
So Hollow Knight, Undertale, Stardew Valley, they did a thing of, and Celeste
So basically,
is
if-
another one they've just done.
if you're a big enough, hot enough indie game, you might qualify for a Fangamer release kind of idea.
I mean, yeah,
Well,
there's a
I
couple
think
of
it
there's a couple of people who do these
Depends.
sort of
Like they do
releases.
all of those series. They do other merch with Fangamer, so I'm assuming it's part of your negotiations of things you want to do with them.
Yeah.
So
Like they
This-
have the Fox
the
plush.
special
I
deluxe,
mean, it's out of stock right now, but
yeah,
they're gonna
deluxe
have it
edition
back.
does not come with the Fox plush,
No,
but
that's fair to be honest.
one, $45, which is very reasonable for a special deluxe
Shockingly.
physical edition of a game. And it comes with, most importantly, it comes with 2 copies, 2 manuals.
Yeah, one for eating and one for reading.
It comes with a very small, basic how to play the game, like
Here's what your controls do.
not even
No.
not even
Holy
here's
shit.
what your controls do.
That's part of the original manual. where you
Welcome
have
to
figure out-
Tunic. You flip the page, you're like, oh, lore maybe an introduction. Sure.
Whatever it is, they have they have a they have 2 manuals. One without spoilers. It'll be a mini manual without spoilers. But then they also have the thing that everybody has wanted since the very beginning when this came out.
Yes.
Which is a full physical hardcover edition of the manual from the game.
Now, I'm going to point out, because in case people don't
I
know,
believe that part's actually sold separately.
hey, Tunic players, why is it so important that there exist 2 completely different versions of the manual?
Okay, so the conceit of Tunic is the idea of you got an imported Japanese game in the mail, like especially like an old Zelda game.
This is all happening outside of the game.
Yeah,
oh
but
my god.
this is the
Sure,
conceit.
I'm with you.
This is the conceit. And when you get that instruction manual, you can't read it.
Yes,
But there are pictures and things, so maybe you can kind of figure out what it is you're supposed to do.
agreed.
And so the conceit is that there are manual pages throughout the game that you're going to pick up, and you constantly need to look at them, because as you get them, you're going to learn new things about the game, which it still will not translate for you.
But the pictures kind of give you a general idea of what the heck's going on.
Yeah, and when-
Also, somebody has like written in pen in the margins in a few places,
And
Okay.
some of those might mean
Okay.
things.
So
and some of them might not.
So what you get with the deluxe edition is you get an incomplete version of the manual that just kind of gives you a very basic explanation of this is how to get started,
I guess, yeah.
which makes sense.
Maybe.
And then there is a completed version akin to the one that you will have by the end of the game.
Yes, or yeah, about I think maybe 3/4 of the way through the game, you're basically complete the manual.
You need to complete the entire manual if you want to do the big puzzle thing at the end.
Sure.
But
Alright.
doing that big puzzle thing at the end would be so much easier with a physical manual.
Well, yeah, because then I wouldn't have to go find the pieces in real time.
No, but I mean just being able to like look at it and like flip through the pages without having to like do it within the game. I think would help a lot.
But so you get both of those with this deluxe edition.
Yes.
But there is another manual?
I thought the hardcover was separate.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yes, that's true.
The hardcover.
The
one
hardcover is a separate one.
yeah.
for
Which,
$20.
like, I like the idea
And
of
it's
that, because if
shiny.
you don't want to buy a physical copy of the game, but you are one of the people who want a physical copy of the manual, you can just
Yes.
get the manual.
And what a great artifact to have as a thing you can buy separately, to be like, it's not a medallion, it's not a little like piece of art that you put on the side of your wall. It's literally the thing that you've kind of been building in the whole game. That's kind of fun.
In actual fact, like I feel like you know, the really nice hardcover version of the manual must be really nice, but in order for the theme of the game, in a lot of ways, I kind of want the manual that comes with it to be like kind of rat-eared and crapped up.
Yeah. It's got like dog ears and stuff, and and it's got like a staple, but it's kind of worn.
Yeah, and like I said, it's got like on the you know. Old manuals always had like the last 2 pages or 3 pages
Notes.
for notes.
Yeah.
And so like somebody has written in like ballpoint pen in a couple different pens, I think.
Yeah.
At various times, like weird little like things. And yeah, anyway.
Yeah, it's
I
supposed to exude that kind of feel, right? Like when you had a game with a manual and you would write down codes and stuff that you'd find out about in like the note pages or in the like
and the
margins
kind
and
of stuff that you go back 6 months later and you have no idea what it means.
Do you know why that there are sections for notes at the end of so many different manuals that are on the market?
because you need to. There's no save state. Every save state is done in a number of things, so you have to write down the number so that when you go to play the game again, you can.
No.
It's to do with the number of pages.
That's correct. Yes,
Yeah,
it has
like
to do with
this-
signatures.
It's
That's
like
no
this
fun.
this page intentionally left blank. Kind
Yeah,
of thing.
they have to fill up the rest of the space. They're like, why don't we just give them lines at the end so they can write their passwords in here?
Well, that's boring.
I know, but that's literally why they did it. They're like, what? We can't fill up the rest of the space. We have nothing else to write. So
I'm not retaining that information. My reason is better.
Printmaking is so interesting.
I watched an anime about the guys who wanted to make the dictionary, and that was very interesting, but I don't need to live it every day in real life.
We talked about Overwatch 2 One Punch Man
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
last week or the week before. That One Punch Man is coming to Overwatch 2. Doomfist is getting a
Costume?
for One Punch Man. Genos is going to Genji is getting a Genos
Okay.
suit.
From One Punch Man, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I actually don't know who that is. So
Oh, you haven't watched the show?
I have watched a little bit of One Punch Man, but I have retained very little.
I remember the premise of the show.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Kiriko is getting a terrible tornado skin.
Oh yes, who is this child who has been left unattended? I know who that is.
That's not her terrible tornado.
Isn't it? Tatsumaki or whatever her name is. Green hair, long green hair, and the black whatever.
She's not a child.
No, but that's Saitama refers to like, who is this small child who's been left unattended at one point? He
Oh,
refers
right.
to
Yeah,
her,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The sassy lost child.
Right.
Thank you. Yes.
And then she just destroys everything.
Yes.
And then Soldier 76 gets to have the Moomin Rider skin, which is hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So again,
He's the guy with the bicycle,
yeah.
right?
So if again, the great thing about that is, so it's like one, Moomin Rider is explicitly not a very powerful superhero.
No.
But an extremely courageous and worthwhile guy. But he's just a guy with a bike.
Right.
But everyone really likes him because he's out there doing his thing,
Yeah.
helping everyone, and he, goes up against unbeatable odds and often loses, but he does it, and he helps people. He gives them rides on his bike, and everyone really likes Moomin Rider. But he's also he's also explicitly not supposed to be powerful.
Like level F or something. Yeah.
So Soldier 76 gets the Moomin Rider skin.
That's cute.
Which is also the only free skin. You get that one for free. The other ones you have to pay for.
Well, okay. I guess they gave away
Yeah,
everyone's favorite. That's nice.
He is C tier. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, right. There was that whole like grading system of heroes.
Yeah,
and,
which
like,
is when
ranking.
I checked out largely of One
Yeah.
Punch Man when I realized I'm like, oh, good, more of this bullshit that I hate.
I mean, it's in the show. It's illustrated to be bullshit.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the whole show is mostly
'Cause
about
Saitama
never being able to work.
Saitama has also becomes he's One
C-
Punch Man. He's
yeah.
C grade because he 100%ed all the physical challenges but failed the written test.
Right. Exactly.
Or
yeah.
just barely squeaked by the written test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's because he went 100%ed all the physical challenges and more, but they don't bother counting anything higher than what he did. But anyway.
Yeah, at least they don't grade on a curve.
Yeah. I'm not saying One Punch Man is a bad anime. I think it's actually a great anime. It's a great premise. It's a great
sure.
manga. You know, like aces to that thing. I got to a certain point. I'm like, I think I'm done watching this.
I mostly just I haven't retained anything from it. Like I remember it. I know I watched. I'm pretty sure I even watched the whole thing, or at least all of
the
season
first
one.
season. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I continued on with season 2 because I was like, it's interesting,
I'm just.
but
I am surprised.
that's not where I care to keep my time.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Overwatch 2 was like, hey, you know what we should do is do a collab with One Punch Man, and it's
I
like,
mean, that is
I
weird.
feel like that should have been done about 2 or 3 years ago,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Also, Blizzard has previously explained the heroes of Overwatch are still the heroes of Overwatch. They are simply cosplaying as their favorite One Punch Man characters.
Which, in a way, I'm like, I like the idea
Yeah.
of,
Which
of
is-
superheroes cosplaying. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
fun.
that's a good way of getting around the idea. Like, you know, there's always the weirdness of. I mean, Fortnite runs into this problem a lot.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
Goku has a machine gun.
Yeah.
yeah.
where to explicitly make it. Also, that then it gives you a little bit of insight that Soldier 76's favorite One Punch Man character is Moomin Rider.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I mean, that's that's fun for lore building.
And I feel like Doomfist would be a fanboy for the guy who's good at punching things.
Yeah. Especially
He's
the
like
single
punching.
things.
That's my thing. Even though,
I really relate to this character that
Yeah.
I watched in this anime.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just there's something about it. Speaking of things that are adorable and cool, I guess. Playdate.
One day mine will show up.
Oh yeah.
The weird little portable,
Off-center with a
weird
crank.
portable little console with a crank.
Show everybody again, maybe, just so that they can. If you've forgotten
It's
what this
bright
thing
and
is,
yellow.
it's that.
Yeah, I think James and Graham have them.
Yeah. They got in so fast that they got the first run.
Well, second run.
Second
I think,
run, sorry,
but
yeah.
Yeah, they've just finished 3. They're working on 4 and 5.
Yeah, and yours is in one of those batches.
Mine's in 4. So soon.
Yeah.
So it was going for $179. They are having to raise the price to $199.
Right. But in a month, they've already announced that
Yeah, they're going to do it on April 7th so that people have a chance to lock in on a cheaper price.
Yeah, and if you've already pre-ordered, then you're already locked in on a cheaper price, so don't worry about that. But to do with all the same stuff as it do with the chip manufacturing and
They did a Playdate update recently, so that they talked about the price thing. They reminded people that they have not forgotten the dock,
Yes.
and they added a I can't remember the name of it. Basically a store.
It's called Catalog.
Right, catalog.
Yeah, I follow Cable Sasser on
Okay.
on Mastodon. So,
and there's 2 games they've put on that are free.
yeah.
And then there's other games and it's just kind of like a curated thing because you can sideload games
Yeah.
from like Itch.io and other places. But
This is a place to go buy a game, and so I saw a recommendation was like, hey, why don't you if you order a Playdate right now, then use that $20 you saved to spend it on the catalog, because apparently I think as Cable has said, Panic's position on how they're going to run catalog is we don't know what the fuck we're doing. I mean, they do know what the fuck they're doing,
Well,
but it's like we don't know what the fuck we're doing, so maybe this
haven't-
doesn't work out exactly how
they
we
haven't-
expect. So the splits will be weird.
They haven't really decided like how often they're going to add stuff to it or what they're going to add. They've put a thing on there right now.
And it's
and
And
so
they went through a bunch of games.
and so one of the interesting things about the Playdate is so when it comes out or when you get it over the next I think
12 weeks.
yeah there's 24 games
Mm-hmm.
that are delivered to you over the next 12
you get
weeks
two. Yeah, I think you get
two a
two
week
every week.
when you get it and that like starts when you get it, so obviously other people have already received those games, but that's part of this like season 1, and that's part of buying the Playdate.
yeah.
Obviously when you're making a new console like this, the problem is that you don't have the software library, right?
Yeah.
So here it is, kind of. slowly being
So you
built
get
up.
24 games just for buying it, but then there's also have this store, and then there's currently two new games that are being added for free to this store to get people kind of used to how the store system works. One is called Real Steel, REELSTEAL. So
Oh, that's good.
which is a heist game based around cranking the fishing.
You're
you have-
fishing.
You're like
mug.
fishing for things.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
There's also another. The other game is called Recommendation Dog, which is about a canine temp worker helping to fulfill the city's needs.
Yeah, from what I
Okay.
could tell of the footage I watched, it actually kind of made me think of like Papers, Please, but it's like a client comes in and you're supposed to like basically hand over a temp thing of like this person will fulfill your needs, so you're going to hire them.
Right.
And if you
Does
do
the fact that
you
you're
do
a
it wrong,
dog
you get
come into it?
I think you're just a dog.
Now it's
Look, we all got to eat.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
funny you bring up Papers, Please, because I showed you a thing a little while ago, and I was
Yep.
surprised to learn this.
And you kept talking about it, so I kept ignoring it.
Yes. Well, again, I guess I have to tell you all about it again.
I've been trying to avoid what all the games are coming out because again the season 1, like I know it's not part of the season 1 stuff,
No.
but the season 1 stuff, like I've been skipping ahead on podcasts that talk about them because I haven't gotten my Playdate yet, and
Yes.
I'd like to go through the experience
Okay.
of being surprised by things.
Okay. Then I'm not going to talk about it.
Okay,
Okay.
I haven't spoiled Tunic for you.
No, I appreciate that. Yes, I'm not going to talk anymore about any of this.
So anyway, if you want to play date, get on it now to save $20. Although you won't actually get one for a while because they're still
Yeah, they're still working on their.
working on everyone. Supply chain is tough for everyone these days. So, and obviously they don't have the ability to swing their weight around and get stuff done faster because they're a very small in the context of video game developers.
It doesn't when it comes to a production thing. It doesn't like there's a point where it doesn't matter how much sway you have. They can still only do so much.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Apple and you actually just like,
Make your own place.
or you just say like, we will buy every chip that you make for the next year,
Yeah. Yeah.
which kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
not
mean,
a lot of people can do that.
the email I got about my shipment thing was that they were making a small change to the
To the chip that they're buying?
thing.
There is, by and large, there's been a lot of hardware that's been coming out where they've said, "Hey, we're moving to a different, a different microcontroller or something like that."
Yeah, there's one small timing hitch. The systems depend on an important Playdate OS update to be wrapped up before they can ship. That update will add support for some parts we swapped out in an effort to work around supply chain problems, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to ship them out as fast as they have been.
Right. I guess they found like another part that is basically functionally identical, but it's a
Yeah.
different
Now they
setup.
have to put that in. I had that problem. I've been looking at getting a Unicomp Model M, one of the new ones. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we're manufacturing these. We're waiting on new shells," and they got held up by one of the Ever Given type crashes in Chesapeake Bay. And then they were like, "Well, we actually can't finish manufacturing most of these. We finished the ones we could actually do, and now we're waiting on a new controller that has to go into the board that we're making. We're sourcing a completely different part, and that means we can't sell any more of these until those show up. And I'm like, wow, even just on like an old ass keyboard, just not being able to get a tiny chip to do something is holding everything up. So yeah.
Nefasto's Misadventure.
Okay.
Next story. This is another one of these games that I marked as a story just because I thought it was weird and interesting. It is a point-and-click adventure about corrupted video game data. It is set inside a corrupted video game system, and you are Nefasto, a piece of game data trying to escape the system. And essentially, it looks like it's kind of an excuse to have this like complete mishmash of different gameplay styles and graphics and things. So, wait, let me actually switch over to the thing.
Yep.
Oh,
God.
Going along, all sorts of different things are happening. You know, you're playing in different art styles, different 3D rendering
kind
things.
Of a Rayman vibe to that character.
It does. He does have a
Like
definite
the whole, like,
Rayman look. Yeah.
I'm missing limbs.
Yeah, it's the first time I'm actually seeing this. This is a neat idea. It's also, though, like visually overwhelming.
Yeah, yeah.
But cool idea. That's going to be the hard part about doing a game like this too, is that it's like you have to come at it from the point of view of like, what do you want to, how do you illustrate a glitch that feels like it's intentional versus like.
Was that their version of Wispy Woods?
I guess.
Yeah. A point-and-click adventure. Okay.
Yeah, the fact that it looks like a platformer, so the fact that it's apparently a point-and-click adventure also changes things.
Huh. I mean, I would imagine that would make it easier with like if the visuals get overwhelming.
Yeah, it's not quite
you
so
don't
time
have to
sensitive.
try to do.
And it's going to be on the Switch. It's a point-and-click on the Switch.
It does look a lot like a platformer, doesn't
It's going
it?
to feel weird. All right.
Anyway, speaking of things getting glitched, I don't know. Reggie just
Burned.
dropped some shade on E3.
Great.
Reggie, as in Reggie Fils-Aimé,
There's only one Reggie.
former
That
head of
we would
Nintendo
talk
America. So there was a post here. Let me. So the Nintendo what's it called? The
Miiverse.
Miiverse, right. So Miiverse has basically been defunct for a while now. As illustrated by somebody posted this message on Twitter sent it to Reggie saying that, your avatar in Miiverse is still saying, E3 community is now live. Come check it out.
Yeah, it's actually very weird to go on to the Wii U and see nothing.
This like weird ghost
in
town.
the same way. Yeah, it feels very ghostly.
So then Reggie replied, I think the emptiness of this version is more reflective of the new reality.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
Oh. Damn.
Well. Yeah.
All right. Well.
That's it. That's all the news.
It's
just
a clever burn.
Mm-hmm.
Reggie just burned E3. Hilariously.
I mean, he can do that now because it's not like
He's going to go to it for.
It's
And
not
it's not
like
like
he has
a-
to keep friends with them.
yeah, I mean, it's not like Nintendo is friends with them either. No.
E3?
I mean, they dropped out, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, they're not going, but my understanding was that they were friends with, or they helped support it in previous years and like with other people who on the ASA who make E3 happen.
Yeah.
That's true, I guess.
All right.
Like
That's
not
good.
not going doesn't doesn't mean like, oh, we hate you now.
That's true.
Which I only want to point out because I do see a lot of people who speculate that kind of thing, and it's weird to me.
Oh yeah, when you don't go to a con, it's kind of like, well, you must hate the. It's like,
yeah,
no,
you know,
no,
it's
no,
like
no.
it's like made up drama
it's a business
at that point. And it's
yeah,
like,
it's a business decision.
Like,
not
I
a-
mean, I think Nintendo has said that they didn't, or somebody else may have said that they don't have. It just doesn't work within their plan of advertising stuff this year.
That's fair.
Some people have taken to interpret that as to mean that there are no games after Tears of the Kingdom or something.
Yes.
Which I also doubt is true. But
Let's be honest, though, for me, there will be no games after Tears of the Kingdom for a little while.
Yeah, I'm kind of just done for the rest of the year. At that
I will just
point
be
for you.
there doing that. I got until May to finish Subnautica, so we'll see what happens.
We'll have to negotiate times.
Yeah.
And then the final story that I have today, which is, again, I guess a lot of stories this week were just games that I thought looked cool.
Yeah.
So, that's how it is. There's a game called Blinken's Folly.
Okay. You find like
Abe Lincoln?
so many interesting names in these titles.
Yeah. They got to come up with different. You play as Percy Blinkens, who, with his dog companion Drayton, sets out to find his missing family. You need to procure a ship, build a crew, sail the high seas, stop along the way to solve puzzles, find clues, merge, go next. It's looks like it's a sort of point and click adventure. It's got a bit of a Monkey Island feel to it, or maybe the article here compares it to like sort of GBA style adventures, Armor Games Studio, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But most importantly, you have an adorable dog that you can pet and hug. It's
Okay,
good.
yeah, good start. Also, everybody are clowns.
Yeah, everyone's got big red noses for some reason. You can
Except the dog.
You can do fishing, which is good. I don't know why he's carrying his dog
Carry
like a
the
baby.
dog.
The dog's probably scared of going through the cemetery.
That's fair, you know.
Yeah. Ghosts.
They can smell the bones.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, you'd think a dog would be pretty excited to be in a cemetery. Now I'm confused.
So yeah, you got various lock undoing puzzles.
Yeah.
You can work with the doggy to do both pull a thing at the same time.
Oh, the map with the boats is cute.
You're you can be boarded by folks and do things. So I am
very like, what is that? Popeye? Like,
Yeah.
his wobbly arms are very it's like an kind of olive oil or whatever. The one thing that I am initially turned off by, but I think I can get over it. Pixel art, but smooth text.
Oh, yes. Yeah, weird when that happens, right? Because it always feels like, oh, they didn't spend any time working the text into the game. The text always feels like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably like realistically, it's probably like makes it more legible and it's better from an accessibility standpoint.
Agreed.
But it still bugs me.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our things about video games.
Although
that
I will
get
say that
us, right?
it does appear to be, at least the pixel art appears to be on the same grid, which is good. When you have pixel art where different like sprites and backgrounds have different pixel sizes,
So everything's misaligned, and
that's where it's clearly just like it's actually just like 3D sprites that they've
Oh,
made in
okay.
Like
pixel,
that?
which is
Yeah.
annoying.
and they overlay incorrectly and stuff like that. Yeah.
But anyway, that's just
maybe-
my little pet peeve.
Maybe they'll have like some sort of text changing option for you where it can be done in pixel.
Make text worse.
There are games that have stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Quite often. Usually they set like the pixel as the default, and they have like a thing that's like you don't have to have pixels.
My biggest pet peeve in a video game is when I start it up and the interface or the text or whatever is slightly too large Arial or Helvetica. it always seems to me like, okay, I went with default option for text because I don't understand.
I didn't care about it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me how the text plays with the interface and how the rest of the game looks. And I'm like, I think it's very important to be like, I need to pick a typeface that reflects the feeling of the game that I'm trying to get across, and that therefore the UI elements also need to reflect what the game has to feel like. And I just hate it when I'm like, circular button that says new game in slightly too large and slightly just a little too like I spackled it on, like I printed a label and I put it on the damn thing, and I'm like, yeah, no, that always throws me off. I'm like, it should be made to feel like it's part of the entire game.
There was I'm trying to remember which one it was. There was a re-release of Final Fantasy on mobile, like for iOS.
Oh, like the pixel.
That was notoriously terrible.
Oh, right. That's the one that had like the pixels for the characters were different from the backgrounds.
Yeah, it actually had like different
pixel backgrounds or something.
They had like different pixel grids that didn't line up properly.
Yeah.
The text was all smooth and sometimes like didn't fit within the text boxes that were made for it.
Don't worry, I'm sure many people were actually angry about that one.
Yeah.
It was very bad. Anyway, that is all the video game news that I chose to mark and talk about. So
right. I would like to leave, and then Bish can talk about his Papers, Please thing.
Oh, okay.
I still want to give that to you.
That sounds great. Yeah, you won't be here and listen to it. Okay.
I'll be back when you do something.
All right, in 3, 2, 1. So interesting thing about Playdate. Where did Heather go? We'll edit this in
I mean,
later.
if you're waiting for a play date, maybe you want to leave as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Viewers.
So this is not... There is a game that is being developed for the Playdate called Mars After Midnight. And
This is not currently available.
This is not currently available because it's still in development. And it's a very interesting looking game. And I was just saw it show up on Mastodon as a thing. Somebody boosted it, and so I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting looking thing. And I click on the thing, and I start like just kind of having a quick boo. And then as I keep looking and reading, and I'm like, this is actually really cool. Like it's showing it's a dev blog of here's what I was doing and here's how I was developing it and here's all the steps I was going through to kind of like improve. Like I just wanted to make a game where I would flip open a window on like a door and there'd be like an alien on the other side, and then I could kind of like look around a little bit to see what's up with the alien, and then I could close the thing. And it's like, but that's just an element. Like that's not a whole game. But I want to make a game that does that. What do I do, right? And so they iterated on this idea a little bit and got to a point where it's like, well, what if it is like a secret kind of club?
Is this a Lucas Pope game?
So this is made by the person who did Return of the Obra Dinn and
Lucas
Papers, Please,
Pope.
right?
Yeah, okay.
So that was the point I was trying to get to. This is like the whole thing was I'm reading this thing and I have no idea who this person is because it was a boost into my timeline, and I click on the thing and I'm looking and I'm going through whatever, and I showed Heather a couple of pictures. She's like, is this by the guy who did Obra Dinn? And I'm like, I actually have no idea. And then as I went further, she's like looking it up and it's like, oh yeah, this is Lucas Pope. I'm like, okay.
I mean, Playdate being a black and white system would Lucas Pope obviously knows how to work in that medium.
Yeah. There was the point I was building to, which is already being like spoiled in chat.
Oh, sorry.
But I was really like surprised by this idea that,
I love this idea of opening a window.
Yeah.
There's an alien there and just being like,
okay, click.
Close.
And what's it for? And so the devlog goes into the whole idea of what the game idea starts to develop and come out of. And I was like, this is really fascinating, this idea. But also I'm interested in the fact that somebody who has made a couple of blockbuster games for PC and for other places, games that people have talked about and we've made skits about, that's the kind of thing you might just see show up on the Playdate. That's what fascinates me, is that any indie developer out there might just one day show up with a game that goes on this platform. And it could be somebody who has an incredible pedigree, or it could be somebody who makes a thing that they've made nothing that was that interesting maybe for a long time. They made 7 or 8 games that have never really caught consciousness, and all of a sudden the thing shows up in the Playdate that might be amazing and light like 100,000 people's world on fire. And that's what I think is interesting about the Playdate existing, is like this weird kind of experimental platform because of the interface and because of of being involved with it, and the fact that people who own one of those things are probably going to be way more willing to try out that stuff, and probably even more willing to promote those kind of games when they see them.
I can imagine that like, especially if you're a very experienced indie dev, working primarily by yourself, especially, that sort of taking a break from your usual grind to make something kind of fun for the Playdate might be sort of a fun thing to do. That it's like, let's just see what kind of, it's almost like a game jam or something, except more extensive, but just sort of like, what kind of weird and wacky stuff can we figure out to do with this system?
Yeah, and I think that's a fascinating place to play on, because it's like when people used to say, boy, if I could get my game on a Nintendo, like an indie developer being like, I'd love to be able to bring my game to a Nintendo system, because I know that, that's where a lot of people focus on playing stuff, or people saying like, research bearing out the fact that, hey, on iPhones, people spend a shit ton more money than they do on the Android platform, so let's target iOS first. And I'm like, I think in terms of nerd cachet, the Playdate's going to be one of those places that, if you have a game that goes to that and people really pick up on it, because you belong to that little, like, rarefied community, that might result in you getting a lot of big press in a lot of places.
Yeah, there is that aspect.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, just being like, I'll put this game on PC and I hope somebody buys it, and then it maybe doesn't grab anybody. It'd be like, oh, it's a feel bad. But yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's cool. You can come back now, Heather.
Cool. I didn't mean that to sound as harsh or anything. It's just you kept showing me all the dev stuff, and I kept trying to ignore it because I want to get surprised by things.
Sure.
And if I know everything about the game, then I don't want to bother.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel where you're coming from.
Okay.
Absolutely. I kind of wish that you had said that to me when I was showing you all that stuff previously.
I tried to earlier. You just
wasn't listening.
Yeah.
That's me.
I love you.
I love you too.
Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us on the stream. Thanks, of course, to all the support that you give us in all the many ways that you do. And we'll be back with more ChillPoint next week, and probably Checkpoint as well. But for the moment, we will talk to all y'all later. Bye.